All right, so once again, I'm live. Been a couple weeks, been a lot going on, but that's around Richmond, Virginia. I mean, it's been like the Wild Wild West out here. Oh, what we got here? We got murders, pregnant woman killed, so forth and like. Here on this one, people been found missing in the woods around not too far from where I was at. Maybe it is invasion of the body snatchers. I don't know. Right? Pope died. I mean, a lot of things going on. Even me. Lost some weight. Been working out a lot, really, but when you knock out a lot, then you're already 150. Like 143 or 142. I said, yo, we gotta do something about this. So I'm getting tired, cramping up a little bit, but you know, trying to do what I do to get people in shape. But that's life, right? Sometimes you do it for the greater good. I don't know. Right? But whatever the case, I'm back and I'm gonna be on for about an hour and a half, maybe 2. I got another thing to run to later in the day. No. Actually, my sleep schedule, I've been going to sleep earlier sometime at night, but waking up earlier. What it is. But like I said, man, it's been kind of crazy here the last couple months. And when you're at home and you hear all this stuff, you're like, damn, what the hell is going on? So get right to it.
When it came time to take things to the next level, I knew that I had to make a website, and Wix was perfect for that.
We're in the 3100 block of Napoleon Street. It's right behind me. Jade will zoom in over here. The ambulance, I think, just left the scene. My sources telling me a 14-year-old girl was shot and hit in the leg. The extent of her injuries unknown, but she was loaded into an ambulance and taken to a nearby hospital to be checked out. They just took the crime tape down here at Napoleon Street, but it's in the 3100 block. It's down that way. A little bit earlier, if you roll the video, we were over in Wickham Court, the outskirts of Wickham Court. It was the 2700 block of Magnolia Street. Shots were fired over in that area. A man was found by police down on the ground when they got there. They picked him up, rushed him to VCU Medical Center, where I'm told by sources he died about half an hour after getting to the hospital, right as he was about to go into surgery over there at VCU. There is also a possibility that the suspect in the Wickham Court shooting is still in that area. When we left, we heard police on a PA system trying to get somebody to come outside of an apartment building over there near the Magnolia Street entrance to that complex. There is several city blocks blocked off near Magnolia Street. It's still an active scene over there, and police are working and asking for information. Obviously, if you've got tips, send it into an anonymous tip line, 804-780-1000, or text the tip using the P3 app. Right before I got on scene here, or came on air here from Napoleon Street, I get a text that says there's also a shooting in Petersburg. My sources confirming a man shot in the chest on Oakland Street in Petersburg. We're actually going to get in the car and go down there as soon as we get off air here. But that's what's going on in Central Virginia, a very violent night. And of course, we have a 14-year-old that's been shot in the leg. The extent of her injury is unknown. And a man that was shot to death over in Wickham Court. And we'll.
Yeah, and that's yep. Bodies found in woods.
Place.
Now we're hearing is Nurses Week. Nice, right? Cool. Sounds great. But they say this facility is kind of bad in Henrico, huh?
This is crazy. It's like a madhouse over there.
Cynthia Jefferson and Sandy Patron see themselves as advocates for the seniors who live at Henrico Health and Rehab.
I start talking to some of these patients and they start telling me these stories, you know, how things were, how nasty their rooms were, how the food was.
Patron says her mother stayed at the East End facility for 100 days back in 2023.
I went every day. She would be sitting in her poop.
And Jefferson's aunt is a current resident.
Just so happened I showed up and she was in the bathroom and she rang the bell to come out and the bell was just ringing. They never answer no bells. You can sit there an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Nobody comes.
In 2023, the Virginia Department of Health cited the facility for long wait times to respond to call bells and neglecting incontinence care, which led to skin damage. Additionally, the state found that staff made significant medication errors and failed to intervene as a resident experienced weight loss and worsening pressure ulcers.
If you're not taking care of them to get them healthy, how are they safe? When you're giving wrong medicine, you're not cleaning them, they get in the beds full.
Between 2023 and 2024, VDH cited 3 deficiencies for immediate jeopardy, which is the highest severity level for a violation, and 9 citations related to abuse and neglect. According to inspection reports, the nursing home failed to protect 2 residents from sexual abuse committed by a nurse aide. Inspectors faulted the facility with failing to properly investigate and report the concerns and found that staff grossly misrepresented the allegations to state authorities. Jefferson says she was actually the one who notified one of the victim's family of the incident.
I found the lady's daughter's name and I called her and I told her what happened to her mother. And I said, you need to get over there to see what's going on.
The federal regulator of nursing homes has imposed at least 4 fines on the facility since 2023, totaling more than $200,000. Medicare has now flagged the facility with these two icons, one for abuse and the other for having a history of serious quality issues. The state has placed Henrico Health and Rehab on a list of the worst nursing homes in the country, reserved for facilities that rarely address underlying systemic problems that give rise to repeated cycles of serious deficiencies which pose risks to residents' health and safety. The facility is now subject to more frequent inspections, escalating penalties, and potential termination from Medicare and Medicaid.
Medicaid stopped paying them. I bet you get their act together.
And it should start from corporate and then tinkle down to the employees at the facility, where they should be more concerned about how they're running their facility.
According to VDH, Henrico Health and Rehab is operated by Medical Facilities of America, a chain that runs more than 30 nursing facilities across Virginia. As CBS 6 was first to report, the state says MFA is run by the same people as Innovative Healthcare Management, which has a mailing address listed in New Jersey, and according to VDH, acquired MFA in 2021. That company owned Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, which is now at the center of 2 elder abuse prosecutions. Innovative also operated Westport Rehabilitation and Nursing Center in Western Henrico, where CMS has denied Medicare and Medicaid payments for new admissions, and Veterans Affairs stopped patient placements due to care concerns.
Absolutely pitiful, disgusting, deplorable. Any words you can think of that's horrendous is the word for it.
Out of 603 nursing home chains in the U.S., CMS ranks Innovative at 517 with an overall quality rating of 1.8 out of 5 stars, and MFA at 413 with a 2.2 star rating.
Just need to start being more vigilant.
Yeah, people need to have more eyes on these facilities, because, you know, that's our loved ones that they supposed to take great care of.
Justin, to our newsroom this morning, an update on new charges against former Henrico NICU nurse Erin Stratman. You're watching 8 News at 9. I'm Autumn Children.
I'm Madison Moore in for Delaney Hall this morning. 8 News reporter Allison Williams was in the courtroom this morning to hear those new charges. She joins us now with what we need to know. Allison.
Yeah, Autumn and Madison just walked out of there about 10 minutes ago. Now, Erin Stratman walked into the courtroom today facing 12 charges. She's now facing 20. So 8 additional charges have now been filed. 4 of those are for child abuse and neglect, and the other 4 are for malicious wounding. Now, these new 8 charges will be merged with the other 12. So when she goes to trial in February, they will all be tried together. Now, the Commonwealth attorney asked the judge to revoke Stratman's bond to have her booked back into the Henrico County Jail. He decided against that. Her bond will stay in place and she will not have to go back to jail. Now, the next time she will be in court will be on May 28th, and her trial is scheduled to begin on February 9th of 2026. Live in Henrico, Allison Williams, 8 News.
Allison, thanks. And to see our full coverage on this case, be sure to scan the QR code you see here on your screen. That will take you directly to our website, where you'll find breaking news, updates, and more.
Justin, to our
kind of crazy with this thing with these nurses, yeah, right?
A major update tonight in the investigation into the alleged abuse of vulnerable babies at Henrico Doctors Hospital.
As CBS 6 was first to report earlier today, the Virginia Department of Health has released the results of their probe, which found that the hospital failed to prevent child abuse.
Tonight, CBS 6 investigative reporter Melissa Hippolyte breaks down the key findings and talks exclusively to the father of a child who was treated by the nurse that has been criminally charged in this case.
Matthew Whitfield's wife nearly died when she unexpectedly gave birth 9 weeks early on October 29th of last year at Henrico Doctors Hospital.
There was a point in time where I thought I lost both her and my daughter.
At first, he had to split his time between his wife, who was recovering, and his daughter, who was in the NICU at the hospital. And he says he implicitly trusted the staff in the NICU.
We thought it was one of the best in the area, if not the state, and thought that there's no safer place for our baby and my wife.
But according to 2 scathing new reports from the state, the hospital failed to implement actions to prevent abuse or protect patients from abuse and neglect. The reports detail the results of an investigation that was launched after the Virginia Department of Health learned that multiple babies had suffered broken bones in the neonatal intensive care unit of Henrico Doctors Hospital late last year. The VDH Office of Licensure and Certification probe began this past December. The day after Christmas, CBS 6 was first to report that the hospital had posted an alert on its website saying that NICU admissions were being paused and that safety measures were being updated due to, quote, unexplainable fractures. Since that time, a nurse named Erin Strotman has been arrested and charged with multiple crimes against 5 premature babies, including abuse and malicious wounding. Whitfield says Strotman was the most consistent nurse tending to his baby within the first 2 weeks of her life.
We thought she was great. Never would have thought it was Erin.
The state investigation confirms previous CBS 6 reporting that Strotman, referred to in the report as EMP-11, was actually placed on administrative leave on September 10th of 2023 after 4 different babies that she had cared for suffered mysterious fractures. Those injuries were identified between August 5th and September 5th of that year, but were not reported to Child Protective Services until September 20th. According to the report, when the state investigator asked why CPS was not alerted within 24 hours about suspected abuse as required by law, another hospital employee, quote, indicated that the facility conducted their own initial investigation and then determined the facility would report the possibility of abuse. At that time, the hospital agreed to put certain safety measures in place to ensure more babies would not be injured. They installed security cameras in NICU rooms and implemented daily head-to-toe assessments of all patients to look for any suspected signs of abuse. But inspectors found the hospital did not review video from the cameras and discontinued the head-to-toe assessments in the summer of 2024 without approval from executive leadership.
Do you think that that should have been in place from the beginning to have some sort of maybe random review of footage?
I think that would have been helpful. I think it would have been helpful for the hospital to have been reviewing the footage of at least Erin if they knew that she was potentially a suspect for what happened in 2023. I don't know why there wasn't more oversight of her work.
Strotman was allowed to return to the NICU a year later on September 17th of 2024 after the CPS investigation found that abuse had taken place, but they could not identify the abuser. The report states that upon returning to work, Strotman had to complete abuse and neglect training and work alongside a supervisor called a preceptor. During an interview, another hospital employee told the state investigator that after 3 days with the preceptor, the hospital had no concerns with Strotman's care.
Well, it is shocking to me that the hospital didn't do more, that they let her come back, that they let this happen again. I don't know how this happens twice.
Less than 2 months later, on November 10th, surveillance video showed Strotman holding one of the babies without supporting the head and neck, and also quickly twisting the infant's head with one hand while the infant was lying on their back. That same video showed Strotman, quote, forcefully pushing the infant's legs towards the abdomen with the feet almost touching the infant's face. 3 days later, according to the report, video captured Stratman forcefully inserting a suction catheter into the baby's nostril and inserting it deeply. Another employee told the investigator it was the incorrect type of suction device for the nose. Ultimately, the state investigation found that the hospital failed to prevent child abuse for 7 NICU patients, though, as we said, Stratman is currently only charged with crimes against 5 children. While there is no evidence to suggest Whitfield's baby was ever harmed, Whitfield says he is still haunted by what he says was a lack of communication from Henrico Doctors Hospital about what happened.
When we were in the NICU, we had her as a nurse. At any time, they could have told us what was going on, and they never did.
Now, we should also note that the state was unable to interview any of the NICU doctors because an attorney representing them refused to permit an interview. VDH spokeswoman Maria Repis says the agency will conduct a site revisit to determine if Henrico Doctors Hospital is continuing to comply with the plan of correction they submitted after the state inspection. Now, as for Henrico Doctors Hospital, Wes Hester, a spokesperson for HCA, said, "I want to clarify that our standard of care has always included a daily physical examination of our NICU babies by neonatologists." He also sent us this statement that reads in part, "The CMS report identified some areas that did not
Now, all that going on, you would think that, people in there more talked about, which I will admit some people are talking about it, but to be honest with you, it never seems to be a point of concern to the right people. But this is going on every day, not just in Richmond, Virginia. It's going on across the world. Take care of your own health. Maybe better yet to be said. That's what I would say about that. But that's the way it's going these days in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah. I don't think people realize the severity of the situation. But these are very trying times. For people who were affected by that, unfortunately. I know Virginia Union University, I think, is going to start a doula class, so maybe that will help with that. But you got to take advantage of your own health, at least. Because these are the things they're not talked about in the scope of everything. But it is what it is, and one is. And then another aspect, you be like, man, what the hell is going on, right? So you just gotta keep all this stuff in perspective. But you know, I'm looking at something the other day, and come on, women, and how do you see that? You're talking about the tampons and all that. So could that be causing cancer too? That's a good question. But it is a high possibility. Yes, it is. It's raised on the production line, isn't it? And it was mass produced. It could cause some type of cancer. But it should be talked about more. Because it's causing a lot of problems for ordinary people. And people is getting infected in a lot of ways. But it is what it is. So let's play this.
Tampons are made of cotton, and cotton sometimes has a lot of chemicals in it. Could tampons have chemicals in them?
That was the driving question behind Jenny Shearston's latest research. The environmental epidemiologist team tested a wide range of tampons for 16 different metals. She wasn't able to name those brands for legal reasons.
We found metals in everything that we tested, regardless of what its brand was or characteristics of the product.
One of the metals was lead, which was detected in trace amounts. That is a worry for Dr. Ebony January, an OB based in New York City.
Lead is not safe at any level, right? A lot of the metals that they found, we naturally have in our body naturally uses for various things. However, when it's at a toxic level, that is what's of most concern to me.
Even though the data shows there are tiny concentrations of metals, including lead, researchers say the health risks are not yet clear.
We don't know if the lead can actually come out of the tampon and be absorbed into the body.
Dr. January says an infection is not a far-fetched possibility.
Everyone knows toxic shock syndrome, right? So we know that it's not far-fetched for a bacteria to get in the system through the vagina. So to me, with the vagina being as absorptive as it is, and we see lead in these tampons and arsenic in these tampons, that was really, really concerning to me as a OBGYN.
Shearston says these findings lay the groundwork for future research.
We can't say yet whether someone should or shouldn't be using a tampon. It's just too soon to know, because again, it's really important to understand if the metals can come out of the tampons and be absorbed by the body in order to have a health effect.
Catherine Ward, Global News, Toronto.
Wow.
An alarming first-of-its-kind study tonight is finding some of the world's most popular tampons have toxic heavy metals in them, like arsenic and lead. Researchers at UC Berkeley bought these tampons all over the world, in New York, in Athens, and in London over the course of about a year. We're talking 30 different kinds from a bunch of different brands, and ended up finding 16 different types of metals, including...
I don't really like committing to things. I'm scared. But when Verizon announced that I could lock in a low price for 3 years, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Can you hear me now?
To an FBI warning about a criminal network targeting kids at home. ABC News joined with some of our owned and affiliate stations across the country to investigate the threat. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas is here with what they found. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. The FBI is warning that this new network has a potential national security implication, but also in case after case, directly reaching into American homes, targeting teens and their families. Its name 764.
Hello. I have placed 2 explosives inside of Rockville High School, okay? And if they fail to detonate, I'm just going to shoot every kid I see, okay?
This call was a hoax, but part of a series of nightmare threats terrorizing Vernon, Connecticut. Investigators determining the threats came from overseas, but with the help of a teenage girl living right in town.
He was doing these threat knowledge and with some of her input.
Both of them involved in a shadowy online global network called 764, which wants governments toppled and the world in chaos, but which also targets kids on social media and gaming platforms, befriending them before demanding violent and sexual content from them.
They will encourage them sometimes to commit suicide. They will encourage them to do cutting. They will encourage them to harm their pets.
They're using basically psychological warfare on children.
That's right. They gain the trust, and then they continue to build that trust to the point where they have power and the ability to blackmail the child, basically.
The girl thought the hoaxer was her boyfriend, and he convinced her to share pornography and create 764 related content, like this Barbie doll with the group's name written on its forehead.
It was very difficult to process. I wanted to scream, "Not my child."
ABC News agreed to alter the faces and voices of the parents of the teenage girl.
Before it started, she was a child who was on the honor roll. She had a lot of friends, and then slowly that started to change.
When the girl began to resist demands, her family says extortion and threats against her ramped up.
Do we consider her a victim or a participant?
Depending on who you ask, the answer may be different.
So you sometimes have victims who then become subjects themselves because they start to go out and perpetrate acts on behalf of the individual who victimized them.
The FBI tells ABC News in an exclusive interview that it has more than 250 open investigations tied to the 764 network, reaching all 55 field offices across the nation. Nearly a dozen others have already been charged, including a young Arkansas man seen here being arrested on unrelated charges.
Man, this guy's got some weird stuff in his car, bro.
But now pleading guilty to plotting to murder a 14-year-old girl in a separate case when she stopped complying with his demands. Back in Connecticut, the parents of the teenager hoping that what happened to her family can be a cautionary tale for others.
If we can one family, then it's worth it.
Such a chilling story, right? So is 6-4 a clue to their missions?
Well, the origins are with a zip code that begins with 764, helped launch the network. And George, this group is about pain. This group is about terror. It's about bringing about harm to people. There does not seem to be any kind of financial.
And Pierre, interesting what you asked about whether they're victims. It's this young girl you profiled here. Now,
she's cooperating with police. Her parents hope that through the cooperation, she can get her life back and not have her future destroyed. She's in therapy, making her way back, but not fully back.
So what does law enforcement, what do they want parents to know?
At the end of the day, you have to engage with your children. Keep communicating with them. Know what platforms they're using. And if you see anything suspicious, report it to police.
Boy, this was that's such an important report. Thank you, Pierre, and your team so very, very much.
Milk chocolate beyond words. Classic recipe by Lindt.
To an FBI warning.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in the country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. She is. I mean, would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would.
I do, quite frankly.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist, are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, but if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you? Are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I'm not talking about Shiloh Hendricks. Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist. And you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable. Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech.
When I look at this is kind of like some play they're doing, but I mean, she has the right to do it. She's going to do it, unfortunately. But for people who don't agree with it, but my thing is just showing this. That's how I look at that. From a spectrum. But that's either here or there. They go to show you that people really, you really think about it. Which that means don't be scared to show your hand either on the other side. The duality complex works just Harry Nichols.
All right, yeah, so we do have a reporter who's been in the courtroom from beginning until now. ABC 24's Lauren Turman has been following this case from beginning to end and joins us now live with her own reaction of those not guilty verdicts. Lauren?
Defense lawyers. We're also waiting and watching to see.
Hey, that's right, Ruben. We were just in the courtroom and saw a lot of the emotion of those not guilty verdicts that you would just kind of put out there. A lot of the family chanting, family of the officer specifically chanting, "Thank you, Jesus." You saw those ex-officers hugging their defense attorneys and hugging each other, just kind of as a sigh of relief that their court proceedings are now over. Again, very different from a lot of the initial expectations and reaction that was going to initially be provided there, but I also differing a lot from the results of the federal trial as well. So again, a lot of emotion right now. I also want to take you to some of the initial emotion and reactions from the family of Tyree Nichols. A lot of sad faces. They were also hugging one another. District Attorney Steve Mulroy kind of talking to his team, telling them that it was okay, telling them that they did a good job. And we are also awaiting some reaction from the family and also from some of the prosecutors. But again, it just really nails down some of the emotion and some of the surprise and just a lot of what we've been seeing here over the last 9 days as well. Now, I do want to run you through some of what we had seen initially from some of the evidence. And you can see prosecutor Paul Hagerman right there saying that he will give us some initial reaction to this commentary a little bit later, and he'll be stepping out of the room with some of the other prosecutors and assistant district attorneys in that case as well. But again, bouncing right back into what we've been seeing here over the last 9 days, we've been seeing medical evidence, medical examiners, forensic pathologists. We've seen former law enforcement officers and SWAT unit members and just people who have been vouching for the character of these ex-officers, which really obviously here has swayed the jury, telling them that they grew up with these men, they've seen them, they were always the first people to respond, they were doing things in an orderly practice, and they continued to be exemplary members of the Memphis police officers as they served there as well. But specifically, one of the really interesting things that tended to really get a lot of the emotion flowing out of the jury were the results that were coming from Dr. Marco Ross and Dr. Jane Turner. They were the examiners and forensic consultants and pathologists that were involved in this case pretty heavily. They talked about seeing Tyree Nichols in the hospital, that they had to fill him with some almost 40 pounds of fluid initially, and some of the other medical results in terms of just seeing him being pretty much really beaten, having contusions all over his body from his head down to his lungs, down to all other parts of his body. And it tended to get a lot of emotion out of the jury there. But of course, not enough to really sway them towards a guilty verdict. This is certainly different from what we had seen in the federal trial, but we again will be awaiting some of the commentary from the prosecutors, from also the family of Tyree Nichols, to just see how they are feeling in this moment and what the reaction in the aftermath is after they've been hugging each other, after they've been crying, after they've been going through so much and enduring the last week and a half of this trial. So we will of course keep you updated with those details, but for now, back to you.
But before I let you go, you've been in that courtroom from the very beginning of this trial. I know it might be kind of difficult to hear me, so I'll speak up a little bit. What was the initial reaction, of the crowd in the courtroom? Because again, this is a verdict that might have been different than what some people were expecting.
Absolutely. A lot of the initial reaction was from family that was in there. They took up the majority. It was a very small courtroom in that space, and it was a lot of tears. Family members were crying, friends were crying, both of the ex-officers and of the family members. Silence, but silent hugging, silent embraces, just a lot of silent emotion that was coming out as they saw those tears. We just saw the tears that were coming down. We saw the hugs that were given to the defense attorneys from those ex-officers, just kind of as a little point of relief there, to say that their court proceedings are over, to let them know how good of a job they've been doing, and adversely from the prosecution. And again, I just told you about those conversations that they all had with District Attorney Steve Mulroy. So you can clearly see that emotion that's being held on a lot of the family members, and that is coming as you saw those tears, you saw those embraces, as they really figure out what their next steps are. Back to you.
All right, Lauren, I'm going to keep you here with us, if you don't mind, for a few more minutes, because of course this just happened in the courtroom. So most of what we need to hear is going to come from you at this point in time. But I want to stay with you here for a few more minutes if we can. I noticed several officers behind you, law enforcement officers behind you. I'm assuming that it was a peaceful reading of the verdict. There was no outbursts or no issues of that nature.
Yes, that's correct. No outburst, really, no adverse reactions. There were some pretty silent tears and some other emotion that had been going on, but for the most part, nothing that would have anybody thrown out of the courtroom initially. But again, just a lot of silence and reflection as that verdict was being read. You could just see the looks of hope and prosperity from Tyre Nichols' family kind of depleting and going down as the not guilty verdict continued to be read on all of those charges. And so nothing initially happened that would really kick anybody out. But you could certainly see the change in emotion as the progression of all of those not guilty verdicts were read for each specifically, and they were very shocked. And of course, they were just trying to kind of figure out how this could happen on behalf of Tyre Nichols' family and what they were doing next. And we did see some conversations happening and heard some whispers of them just saying, you know, we don't really understand at this point, and so they're trying to work through that, and we do expect to hear from them more about that shortly. Back to you.
All right, last question, Lauren, and then I'll let you get back to, I know you've got a lot to do there as well while you're gathering the information. Can you tell us a little bit about the makeup, of course, of this trial?
So the makeup of the jury, again, you're taking it from an initial jury of 16 people and whittling that down to 12, so 12 people and 2 alternates. At the beginning of this trial, there were 10 women and 6 men. 15 of those 16 people were white passing, and there was one that was not, that looked either African American or maybe Hispanic. But that person, we had heard, had some medical issues and was removed from the jury. And then again, there was another medical issue that happened, and the 2 other people were taken from the trial and put as alternate, so those 12 jurors could stand there. But in terms of the racial makeup, it is an all white passing jury that decided on these verdicts. But at this point as well, most of them, I would say, were over the age of 50 years old. There was maybe about 2 people that looked under the age of 40, and 1 person that looked under the age of 30. So it is certainly something to be said, and something that we've seen in a lot of the comments online as people have been watching this trial about the makeup of the jury, about it being all and then being more so up in age, above the age of 50. So yes, it's what we've been observing so far, but again, whittled down from an initial jury of 16 to the final 12 jurors that made those verdicts, as you just heard.
Lauren, thank you so much. ABC 24's Lauren Turman, been in the courtroom from the beginning of this. I know you have a lot.
So to me, it seemed like they got a lot of things going on, but sure they're not showing that all this that happened. Now they say Byron Scott then potentially mess with a woman.
Former Lakers star Byron Scott is being accused of sexually assaulting a teacher back in 1987. That lawsuit was filed in 2022, but didn't name Scott. In a new amended version, Scott is accused of assaulting that teenager during the filming of an instructional video at Campbell Hall High School in Studio City. The lawsuit says Scott was 26 years old at the time. The alleged victim was 15. The suit says the alleged assault happened in a locked janitor's closet there in the school's gym.
We reached out to Scott's legal team, who sent us this statement. It reads, quote, "Our client is devastated by this complaint, a basketball event that took place in 1987. Our client believed the plaintiff to be over 18 and had no idea she would claim otherwise until 35 years later. He respects girls and women, and the claims have blindsided him and his family. The lawsuit is asking for a jury trial and more than $25,000 in damages." Our Mario Solis joins us in studio right now. Mario, Byron Scott played for the Lakers.
Yes, he did.
In the 80s, the late 80s here. What else has he done?
Well, we all know that Byron Scott is really a big part of LA basketball. He grew up in, he was born in Utah, but then he grew up in Inglewood, went to Morningside High School, where he had obviously a great career. He left high school to play at ASU, and then right after that, he was drafted by the Clippers, who back then were based in San Diego, traded to the Lakers, and the rest is history. Winning 3 championships with the LA Lakers. When the alleged incident took place, he had just won his second NBA title with the team. And of course, he also became a coach. He was coach of the year with the Hornets. A great career. Just recently posting on his Instagram, he was the coach of a youth Filipino-American team that won a major championship. Byron Scott, of course, a major part of the famous Showtime era with the Lakers, playing alongside Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and an incredible career. So at this point, all we can do is wait. But the impact that Byron Scott has had in LA basketball, as a coach, as a player, and even after that, he was a broadcaster when Time Warner had the rights to the Lakers. I've exchanged many thoughts with him, interviewed him many times, so I know Byron Scott quite well.
All right, more.
I'm gonna play this by me right here. Skype shutting down.
No, your computer is not ringing. You'll remember that sound. It's the Skype call. Well, it won't be around much longer. The video calling app is officially going out of service today. Now, Skype launched back in 2003, and it quickly caught on as a way to make free calls all around the world. Microsoft acquired it in 2011 for nearly $9 billion, and the app is now being replaced with a free version of Microsoft Teams. Chris Johnson joins me now. He's a senior editor at Business Insider with more on this. Chris, great to have you with us. The backstory of Skype to me is just fascinating, but help us understand how Skype fumbled the bag, as kids say. How did it go from being pervasive to barely used?
Yeah, that's right. After Microsoft acquired the platform, back in 2011, it slowly sort of added more features to the platform, but it also dropped the ball a little bit on maintaining the quality of video calls. So while that was happening, competitors like Zoom, I beg your pardon, made sure that its calls were better. And then sort of when the pandemic came along, 5 years ago, lots of companies wanted to or needed to start using platforms like this, and many just switched to Zoom over platforms like Skype. So it was absolutely a pioneer back in the day when it was far more difficult to make video calls or calls over the internet than it is today. We've got so many options now, like FaceTime, WhatsApp on our phones. This was, of course, it came along back in a time when before many people had smartphones. So Microsoft saying that it wants to streamline all of its communication options under Teams. So it's deemed Skype to sort of be no longer needed among its portfolio of offerings.
Yeah, sharing a Zoom link is just so much easier than setting up a Skype call. So what should people do if they've got that little Skype logo, they've got the app? Do they need to trash it? Because it did offer something that even other video calling apps don't provide.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps the thing that some people will miss the most is the ability to call a landline or a cell number for somebody that may not have a cell phone or a computer. There are other apps that will do that. There's one called Viber, for example. Microsoft is also making it quite simple to move over to Teams with your existing Skype login. So I think some people are a bit upset about the fact that, they might have been using Skype for a long time. If you say you have an elderly relative who is familiar with the way Skype works, trying to get them to move over to a new platform could be a little bit challenging. Right. But I think for the vast majority of users, it's not going to be something that is going to be too sorely missed.
Geriatric millennials losing another thing we were used to. Chris Johnson, great to chat with you. Thanks so much.
Yep, that's about that. And it's about student loan collections.
Beginning today, more than 5 million federal student loan borrowers could face penalties if they do not pay back their loans on time. The Department of Education is allowing lenders to take action to collect, which includes garnishing wages. CBS News correspondent Lana Zach brings us more on this.
Are you worried about drowning? Yes. I mean, we're kind of drowning as it is.
Jana Hartwood owes more than $40,000 in student loans from her nursing degree.
I don't think anyone takes out a loan with the intention of not paying it back. It's how easily you can pay it back that's the problem.
2 years ago, her son was born with a medical condition. To treat it, Hartwood exhausted her savings and had to take out money from her 401k. During the pandemic, student loans were put into forbearance, but when repayments resumed last year, Hartwood says she was never notified. After hearing of the agency's collection decision from a news report, she checked her account.
I was shocked. Like, I had no idea that my loans were delinquent at that point.
So they never told you that you had any problems?
Nope. I checked every email. I got statements that had a 0 on it.
With all of the chaos right now, it is exceptionally cruel to start these draconian.
Persis Yu is an expert in student loan law. She says steep job cuts at the education department and steps to dismantle it have left the loan system in disarray.
Borrowers cannot get answers from their servicers. Many of the servicers have hours-long call wait times in order to get just a simple answer about how much do I owe, how do I pay my loan.
For borrowers who have faced financial hardship, it's especially difficult.
There are not provisions that take into consideration when families have extraordinary circumstances, like having to pay for the medical care of a loved one. It's an impossible standard for so many to meet, and that's why so many borrowers do fall into default.
Administration telling CBS News because of their, quote, attempts to transfer student debt to every taxpayer, the student loan portfolio is in a dire financial state. As for Hartwood, after hours on the phone, she still has no clear answer on her loans.
How much can you afford to pay back right now?
None. It's not easy. Every week is hard. Every paycheck is immediately gone. It's gone before we even, have it.
Now, Hartwood wanted to stress that she has a good job as a nurse and that she has a good support team, but still a third of her paycheck goes to childcare. That's in addition to the other payments that she needs to make for her and her son to get by and pay their bills. So all of this is very concerning, particularly when it comes to furnishing her wages as soon as the summer.
Yeah, Lana, that's a great interview, and it's such a difficult topic for people to open up about, the amount of money that they have to pay back.
Speaking of news.
And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that unexpected delays in Medicaid funds have forced hospitals in at least 10 states to lay off staff and pause critical payments to medical suppliers. Joining me now is Hilton Braithel, who is the president and CEO of the Healthcare Association of Hawaii. Thank you so much for being on the program. I know you represent all 28 hospitals in Hawaii. So talk about what their experience is as a result of these delays.
These delays, we're waiting on approximately $240 million for these hospitals in the state of Hawaii. And these payments were supposed to start in January of this year. So now being May, we're almost 5 months late in any of these payments flowing. And all of the hospitals in Hawaii are not for profit. They already operate on very narrow margins. Some of them are already operating at a loss. And this delay in payments is significant. It impacts their ability to hire staff. It impacts their ability to pay their bills. And it impacts their ability to provide services to the community.
We, for example, heard a story about a medical center in Washington that had to lay off 100 employees because of delays. So I guess if misery loves company, it seems like you're getting plenty of it. But are you in touch with other hospitals and other places and having conversations about what's going on?
Well, we are working together. We are working with the American Hospital Association. We're working with...
What's up, man? How you doing? Not much, man. Discussing this stuff, the murders in Richmond, the tampon thing with the women, the hospital lady that got charge for the women that what's going on with the women, the babies, in the nursery. And then, by the way, it is Happy Nurses Week or Nurses Week, so they call it. And so now talking about here. Hospitals laying off staff amid Medicaid delays. So, a lot of stuff going on. Talk about the Byron Scott thing. Talked about a lot. Also, Newark Airport, which I forgot about to mention that. Since a lot of them walked off the job. Well, first of all, let's put this up first. Since yesterday was Real ID Day.
Yes, good morning to you. Another round of cancellations and delays likely here with a ground stop coming at 8 o'clock this morning here at Newark International. All of this happening while new security measures are also rolled out today. To get through security, you'll need a Real ID or your passport. Otherwise, with a regular license, you'll be subjected to more security measures.
So the air traffic control system that we use today is anywhere from 25 to 50 years old. The whole system needs to be redone. We need to build a brand new air traffic control system.
Technical failures and staffing shortages, a double whammy causing these flight delays and cancellations.
What is going on? There are people sleeping here in the airport. Like, let us go home. Get it together.
Most pressing is getting more employees on the clock to help with air traffic. Congressman Josh Gottheimer's office says Newark is staffed with just a third of the 61 personnel necessary in air traffic control, combined with many of them on leave after the system meltdown last Monday when radio and radar shut down for 30 seconds, losing communication with planes in the air. Now the federal government is offering incentive to get the most seasoned to stay on the job.
These are the best equipped controllers that we have. And so I've offered them a 20% upfront bonus of their salary to get them to stay on the job, not retire.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said he'll also be meeting with airlines serving Newark. There's also construction of a runway here at Newark, which should hopefully wrap up by mid-June, according to the Transportation Secretary.
Now, the person that have flown many times, I kind of hate this because I hate the plane delays, man. You be like, man, when the fuck am I getting home? So that's not a good thing. That's very bad. And I've always been there for a motherfucker getting fighting in that motherfucker. So gotta be careful on this one, Chak.
There is travel trouble at Newark Airport right now. Throughout the weekend, hundreds of flights were delayed or canceled, and those disruptions continue this morning. So what's really going on? For more on this, let's bring in CBS News senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve, who joins us from Seattle. Chris, what's causing these delays, and how is it impacting travelers all across the country?
Well, Errol, this is potentially the 8th straight day of significant disruption at Newark Airport. It is the nation's 12th busiest airport. Yesterday, how is it affecting people across the country? About half of the inbound flights to Newark were late or canceled. So it is impacting flyers, certainly a major pain point if you're trying to get in and out of New York City. It's happening because of an FAA staffing shortage at a critical control center outside of Newark. This started with a series of system outages that on Monday resulted briefly in air traffic controllers not being able to see airplanes on their control screens. Several controllers then basically said the experience has been traumatizing, and they have a carve out in their work agreement that they can take time away if they feel traumatized and not able to do their jobs. There's now about half dozen or so controllers at that one facility that are off the job. And that has forced the FAA to essentially slow Newark down because they don't have full staffing to handle the normal volume. That is creating sort of an unpredictable situation for airlines. And that's why you're seeing delays and cancellations. United said Friday they were going to cancel at least 35 round trips a day to reduce some of these massive delays. 2 hours is not uncommon right now, as much as nearly 5 hours for some flights, and of course, hundreds of cancellations. So it is a mess, and it's a mess that may not have an immediate end here, as these are highly trained, specially certified controllers. You can't just slot in somebody else necessarily.
What a massive problem for so many people who are trying to get about and do important things in their lives.
Chak kind of crazy. So Chak, you're not going on a plane right now, so this might not bother you, but a lot of people like to get on planes, so this could be problematic, to say the least. Yes, indeed. So, seems like a clusterfuck. The penny's days may be numbered.
Time may be running out for the penny. A new bipartisan legislation in Congress could end production, an idea President Trump has also floated. But what about people who want the penny to stick around? Ed O'Keefe traveled to North Carolina to find out.
The humble penny, once a pocket staple, has long since lost its shine. But not here. The Copper Penny Grill, the coins still reign supreme.
If you look close, there's probably some that are worth a lot of money.
Owner Shelley Greff is giving Lincoln's new life with her handmade bar tops and artwork.
I like these older ones because they have more of a story.
A story she's more than happy to tell.
It grew into a little bit of an obsession with me. And then everybody just started donating pennies. People just come by and they say, I want to be a part of something.
It has increasingly become something less about money, maybe, and more about design or about collecting.
And so much about history. It just has a really special place in my heart. And I think so many others that they say, oh my gosh, this was the year I got married. I'm going to keep this penny, or this penny's good luck. And so I love that part of it.
But despite all that love, even here, customers aren't using pennies to pay the bill.
When was the last time you paid for something with a penny?
I won't even bend over and pick up a penny. It's got to be a dime or a quarter.
That's part of the reason Wake Forest University professor Robert Waples, for decades, has been calling on lawmakers to kill the penny.
They just have to keep making more and more of these because we don't bring them back. And we don't bring them back because they're of such low value. So we got a vicious cycle going here.
There are so many in circulation. Waples estimates about $7 for every American. Plus, it actually costs nearly 4 cents to produce 1 penny, far above its worth.
Even if we could produce the penny for free out of thin air, it's just a waste of our time, and our time's valuable. Time is money.
At the Penny Depot, they're always pressed for time and more pennies.
We do like happy birthday pennies, holiday pennies.
The Kilcoin family runs a business making custom collectible pennies using these pressing machines.
There you
Look
go.
at that.
Penny. Cool.
They even made some for us at CBS Mornings.
You made these?
Yes, we made those for you guys as our guests.
The Kilcoins. Yes, the Kilcoins. Know that despite their name, they don't want to see the coin's demise. The family needs a steady supply of pennies to keep churning out these copper keepsakes.
There's an untold number of pennies out there.
250 billion is the estimate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, there you go. Somebody did their homework. I can't imagine, though, you're going to run out of supply.
If they take it out of circulation, then that can hurt.
But on the flip side of that, it's a collectible. And, if they start to make a collectible become more rare, the value starts to go up. So there is a nostalgia. I mean, the penny is a piece of Americana.
They're all 2021.
Back at the Copper Penny Grill, Shelley Greff agreed.
what do we lose if we stop producing pennies?
I don't know. We've now being worth a penny.
Chak getting rid of messing with the penny, which is bad, which is what? Crazy stuff, isn't it? Let me pull this up. Last week they had the Harvey Weinstein trial. Nobody talking.
Now to the Harvey Weinstein rape trial in Manhattan. The first of 3 accusers took the stand today. News 4's Erica Byfield is live in Lower Manhattan with what happened in court. And Erica, this wasn't her first time testifying.
No, Gilma, we first saw her on the stand back in 2020. So now she's back 5 years later to talk to this jury about what she says happened. Today, she took the stand around noon. Miriam Haley showed up in blue sunglasses to face off with Harvey Weinstein.
After a long period of thinking about it, she felt that it was the right thing to do. And she did it.
Haley first testified against Weinstein in 2020 at his first trial, once again accusing him today of sexual misconduct. With the DA in attendance, the now 48-year-old told jurors that she met Weinstein in 2004 at a London movie premiere, and then again at the Cannes Film Festival in 2006 when she was looking for work. She says their cordial relationship took a dramatic shift in a private meeting. I was wearing platform shoes. I remember Harvey Weinstein commented on my legs, which I thought was odd because I have short legs, adding that he asked for a massage and she said no. And when she left, I burst out crying. I was very disappointed. It was very humiliating. Eventually in New York, she worked on Weinstein's hit show Project Runway. It's after that she says that Weinstein engaged in unwanted sexual behavior. Weinstein's retrial is now in its second week of testimony, and it includes allegations from 3 women. The first trial included alleged victims. They took the stand. So did Molyneux witnesses, other women who testified about uncharged crimes. The Court of Appeals tossed his conviction, saying that should not have happened. One of those women in Lower Manhattan on Tuesday.
I'm not going to not be here because we need our voices heard and we need to speak up.
Weinstein has always maintained his innocence. The defense is expected to question Haley on Wednesday. Her attorney saying this about why she flew in from another country to be here.
She did it for only one reason, because it's for the cause of justice.
So again, she's expected to be on the stand again tomorrow. We did just hear from the defense. They're expecting to cross-examine her sometime in the afternoon. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. We can't say from the first trial, the jury did convict Weinstein on the counts related to Mimi Haley. Erica Byfield, News 4, New York.
And we'll find out soon enough. Erica, thank you.
And we begin with
bringing up a lot of things about sexual assault these days. I see all around everybody. Weinstein probably at least one talked about. But I would say that's kind of like, yeah, what it is.
breaking news, singer Smokey Robinson accused of rape and assault.
That complaint just
filed in LA Superior Court by 4 women who all worked as housekeepers for the Motown legend. They're now seeking millions of dollars in damages. Eyewitness News' Josh Haskell is live in downtown LA with more on these allegations. Josh?
And David and Giovanna, extremely disturbing allegations against Smokey Robinson and his wife, Frances Robinson, saying that these allegations took place at their Chatsworth home. Now, the complaint was filed earlier today in Los Angeles Superior Court, and the accusations include sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, and a hostile work environment, and failure to pay minimum wage, and overtime, among other accusations. Now, Smokey Robinson, the legendary R&B singer who was the frontman of the Motown group, The Miracles, has been accused of rape dating back years by 4 former housekeepers who appeared at today's news conference, but concealed their identity and did not speak. Much of the sexual misconduct is alleged to have taken place in what attorneys call Robinson's blue bedroom, but also in parts of his home, like the garage and laundry room, which do not have cameras. The attorneys for the former housekeepers believe Robinson's wife, Frances, knew about the sexual misconduct but didn't engage in it herself. She's accused of being complicit in the unfair labor practices portion of the lawsuit and also causing these women emotional distress.
What he would do was summons her to his blue bedroom after having just showered. He would come out of the adjoining bathroom naked and proceed to force her to have sex with him against her will. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped. These women were all low wage earners.
This low wage earner thing is so kind of crazy, man. Low wage earners and stuff like that. This is some kind of wild. That's a crazy terminology. The guy, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. Low wage earners, high wage earners. This is serious. Let's be real. Because it seems like somebody like doing a shakedown. Shakedown Smokey. Damn. I mean, I hate to say it, man. I just got to say it. I mess with a woman. I don't care if she low wage or high wage, whatever y'all want to call it. Shit. That's a crazy shit. You really think about low wage, high it's okay, right? But it is what it is. But it, that's part of the deal. But I mean, yeah, what it is. Crazy stuff. Wow. Chak, I was telling you about NIL money months ago, and they think they might have put a cap in this thing.
It's toothless.
Me away.
Oh, you gotta see this.
Epic Universe, only at Universal Orlando Resort.
The other thing about NIL that bubbled up last week, because the whole NIL dynamic,
it's getting interesting.
College football is now dealing with, because for years college football had a corrupt system that violated the federal antitrust laws. The legislative branch spoke more than 130 years ago with the antitrust legislation. The judicial branch has spoken more recently. Now that somebody's finally realized, hey, all these NCAA rules are really antitrust violations because it's a bunch of independent businesses coming together and hiding under the NCAA umbrella to make these rules that fix the price of their workforce. Now that it's happening, chaos has ensued, and the executive branch, with the nudging of Nick Saban, who frankly quit because he could no longer compete in today's marketplace. I know there's a more high-minded way to put it. The way I see it, he quit because he couldn't compete anymore. More importantly, he couldn't stack the deck in his favor the way that he used to, and he saw which way the wind was blowing, and I'm going to get out of Dodge before I finish 5th in the SEC. So now that that's all happening, created, President's considering an executive order that would in some way limit NIL, and I don't think they're going to do anything. I think it was just, hey, if they do it, I want to see how they're going to restrict the pay that goes to CEOs. Are they going to restrict what actors and musicians make? Are they going to restrict how much money you can make off stock trades? What the hell? At the end of the day, it's a capitalist society. It's free enterprise. How in the world are you going to restrict what these kids can make for their skills, abilities, and sacrifices playing college football?
Agreed. Listen, a bigger scale of thing, yeah, there's a little too much of the executive branch, in my opinion, right now. I don't know, making things hard on the little man or the everyday common man. I don't like that. And this would fall into that as well. Like, whoa, wait, oh, yeah, I don't know. They don't know if they deserve it, coming from somebody who made money.
Okay.
Either way.
Well, my thing with this NIL thing is there was years complaining about not paying the players. Now they're paying the players. Now some people like it, some people don't, et cetera, et cetera. College football makes a lot of money. College basketball, really, to tell you the truth, it is more like professional. I think they just hiding and letting you know. But whatever the case may be, I knew Nick Saban was going to get involved because he retired from coaching. And if they pass something on this, he might get back into it. But Nick Saban, to me, always been kind of shady anyway. So for him to retire and then get involved is kind of hypocritical to me. Right. I think they should leave that alone.
Imagine a single brand of liquor so deeply embedded in a culture that it's not just a drink, it's a symbol. Whether it's in black movies, R&B, or rap songs, one name keeps coming up. Hennessy. I was surprised to learn that this love story started way before the rise of hip-hop. It's a tale of coincidence, marketing genius, and cultural appropriation. How did the French cognac, once associated with aristocracy, become the most popular alcoholic drink in black culture? And what dark truths lie beneath seemingly beautiful relationship? Today, 2/3 of Hennessy sold in the United States is consumed by African Americans, a staggering statistic that raises questions. To understand how we got to that point, we need to travel back in time to World War II. During the war, thousands of American troops were stationed in Europe, many of them African Americans. In the south of France, a region famous for its cognac, these soldiers were introduced to a drink unlike anything they had back home. Among the cognac brands they encountered, Hennessy stood out. Hennessy recognized the power of its growing connection with black soldiers. But at the time, such an association came with significant risks. In an era where aligning with the black community could be perceived as a threat to a brand's prestige, Hennessy faced a delicate challenge: how to embrace this authentic connection without jeopardizing their image. And what they did next was nothing short of revolutionary. Their strategy didn't just reshape the brand's history, it rewrote the playbook for how luxury brands engage with culture, leaving an indelible mark on the entire industry. The post-war era was a paradox for Black America. Black soldiers had risked their lives fighting fascism abroad, only to return home to a segregated nation, still bound by the iron grip of Jim Crow laws. These heroes fought for freedom overseas, but faced injustice and second-class citizenship at home. But the late 40s marked a turning point. The second Great Migration had begun. Over 5 million Black Southerners packed up their lives and dreams, leaving behind the oppressive South for the bustling cities in the North and West. There, new job opportunities brought steady paychecks and the hope for a better future. For the first time, many Black families had a taste of economic stability, making them new prospects for consumer good corporations like Hennessy.
I'm talking about a new market, a big new market. Millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend. The new Negro family. Their name is Wells or Wilson, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Breen. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. They're good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. The impact of this new buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support.
These corporations wanted to know all about this new untapped market to find what is the secret to sell to them.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second, the Negro buys good quality merchandise.
Hennessy followed this blueprint to the T and positioned itself as the civilized drink for Black Americans who were thriving and redefining their future. It was one of the first brands placing ads in Ebony and Jet magazines, two of the most influential media platforms created for Black people. These ads didn't rely on stereotypes. They showcased the recognition of Black success, elegance, and aspiration. Hennessy wasn't just selling a drink, it was selling a lifestyle, a symbol of progress and pride.
And this is why people say I like to be on that brown liquor, whatever they call it, right? That's why they say it. I'm on the Hennessy, that's what they say. I ain't never like Hennessy, but that's, it's one of the things that goes on there.
I need that yak before I break your back. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
you're right. That's exactly what. That's right.
Sure.
Now, but yeah, Nick back. Yeah, see Nick Saban running his mouth trying to get into this NIL thing, which I said that probably was gonna happen. Actually, I kind of figured it because he quit. Because of it, and that he go into Congress to lobby again. I said, this is some crazy shit right here. But I kind of figured that. A lot of coaches saying they couldn't compete with the NIL thing, but I'm like, this college football and basketball always been in sports, always been a business. So I'm just trying to figure out the thing with it.
So if he retired, what he got to do with this shit? What the fuck he got?
That's what I said.
Cracker, bro.
I think he about to get back into coaching.
He pocket watching, bro. Because we know them crackers been paying these goddamn. They've been paying the black athletes and these white athletes up on the table for years. Shit.
I know. Yep. I know. That's why I said it's kind of hypocritical to me. He complaining about it.
Milk chocolate beyond words. Classic recipe by Lindt.
It's early in the morning in the Vatican.
Hold on, this 1 second.
Cardinals of the Catholic Church remain cut off from the world. Their work to select the next pope to resume shortly. This is the largest group of electors ever and the most diverse in modern times. But it's really anyone's guess whom they'll choose. ABC's Maggie Rulli has been covering the history in the making from St. Peter's Square, and she was there when the famous smoke from the chimney appeared just hours ago after their first vote. Maggie.
Hey, Byron. Yeah, we were standing right here just outside St. Peter's Square, shoulder to shoulder with tens of thousands of other people, and everyone's eyes were right there, just waiting for smoke. Now, the crowd started to gather as soon as the Cardinals went inside the Sistine Chapel, and it just kept growing for nearly 4 hours. We met so many Americans in the crowd as well, some Catholics, but also many that were just here on vacation. They said they weren't Catholic, but they had to be here to witness this moment of history, and that's really what we felt like. It was a communal moment, Catholics and non-Catholics alike, here to watch this centuries-old tradition.
Black smoke filling the air. No pope chosen on day one of the conclave. The closed-door gathering at the Vatican has only happened 7 other times in the last 100 years.
This is a huge moment in the history of the church because we don't do this very often.
133 cardinals from around the world taking an oath of secrecy inside the Sistine.
Oath of secrecy. How nice. Oh, yeah, we talked about this earlier on the phone, man. Wow. Yeah, that's the Pope, brothers. Oh, they having about to bring a new Pope in. Excuse me. Crazy stuff in there, brother. Damn, boy. There's some crazy stuff, man. The Pope is alive and well. But that's crazy stuff, Shaq. When you really think about the Pope, what he represents and the church and all that. So really, it tells you it's kind of hard to be involved with these churches when you realize what the bullshit that goes on, who controls the churches. Right? Matter of fact, there's so many of them, I can't even count. I said, damn, it's a church right here, a church right there, a church right there. You got a church in the hood, you got a church, big mega church, and all that. But the people in the mega churches are more usually affluent, as they say, most of the time. So, just one of the things to look at when it comes to church. But show me the money. That's what I just. Right. You need to pay attention to that. You see, he got his hand on that book, though. I'm looking at it. I said, yo, come on, man. Really? So, that's how it goes, brother. So pay attention. Last topic before I leave. Since I ran into this the other day.
How are you? How long have you been driving trucks?
Almost a year now.
A year? And how do you like it?
I like the life.
What did you do before?
What did I do before? I was in the nursing field.
I'm sorry?
The nursing field.
Nursing?
Like CNA work.
What's your plan for the future? What's your dream? You think you're going to keep on trucking?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you do in your free time? What's your hobby?
Party, go out.
What is it?
I say a party, go out.
Party and go out. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I actually ran into this situation a couple of days ago. They were talking about, cleaning and all that, and I'm like, I said, BJ, what the hell is wrong with you? Women ain't they cooking and cleaning no more like that. We are, but that's what you call traditional shit. They got this thing called trad wife and all these other little stupid ass shit. They always talk about. Trad wife just means traditional wife, 1950s style of a woman or whatever, that's into traditional cooking and cleaning, etc. Anyway, they told me you're into those traditional gender roles and all that other stuff and all that, right? So they're talking about, truck drivers. They said more women becoming truck drivers. You pull up, more women are becoming truck drivers, right? One of my people, they friend truck driver. So
this is the time we're living in, bro. I mean, yeah. Hey, women want to make more money. They want to get involved. Not all, but it's a certain sector of women that say, hey, I don't need no man to take care of me. I can take care of myself. I can do the job you can do. I don't have no problem with it. But
yeah,
at the same time, because it's allegedly creating a sense of independence. That's why I say allegedly.
Yeah.
Because guess what? To single it out, the more they got to pay. And the more they got to pay, the more the corporations and commercials make. You know what I'm saying? It's a cycle. That's why I keep saying the Wheel of Fortune, dog. They were tricked into believing that because at the same time, they should have at the time because women were restricted to certain things in society, things they couldn't own their own bank accounts. Because, like, I don't know, up until 1974, women couldn't have their own name on their own bank accounts, can have their own bank accounts. So it's a lot of things that were implemented that tremendously had women, feeling like they were imprisoned and are held down. But you got the ones that manipulated that, and obviously the extreme ones that take this shit and take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And manipulate the laws, and obviously, because we know every woman is not trying to go work and drive no goddamn truck. We know every woman is not trying to work on no damn construction site, building no damn highways and shit, no damn skyscrapers. Not trying to be
You
no
know
damn
what? It's
cliffhanger.
funny though. Last week you saying that, dude, because I did run into a woman. I said, "What's she doing? She working in the damn what they call one of them manholes or something in the house." Man, she was sweating that. Hey, yo.
I mean, like I said, it's a certain sector of women that want to do these jobs, and it's. I mean, hey, if they feel like they can do it, do it. But you're not going to get the whole. I don't know why they're trying to compete. Like they're trying to make it seem like no.
Yeah, they was really out there.
You're not going to get no women. You're not going to get no whole crew of women standing out there on no goddamn, holding no goddamn signs in these construction sites. Cold weather, hot weather, rain, tar. Hell no. You might have maybe 3 out of crew, maybe 1 or 2 out of crew.
Well,
hell no.
Well, look. You're right. So
now I'm seeing more pilots.
This is
because I'm seeing some women that's getting into this pilots, becoming pilots and shit too, and a lot of women.
Yeah.
But see, I don't know if it was okay. Let's go down that road right quick before you go. Let's say, yes, they were getting discriminated against, right? In some of these positions, being a pilot, some of these, dominant roles or more masculine roles, right? Leadership roles. But I can see how. Well, I guess it would be the same if they still riding if they riding that motherfucker. So right, because I was about to say by the biological makeup, by them being female, and how they design them being up in the air. But shit, they ride the plane, so why can't they drive one? Shit. You feel me?
That makes sense. Ain't wrong with that.
It makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
But
now let me say this. Now you know
But I
they've been
still do.
saying
I still believe they got a lot of problems by them being in them planes and flight attendants and shit. I still believe it's some probably they probably suffer from because of their biological makeup.
well,
Maybe they don't
hey,
get pregnant. Maybe it's killing they.
hey, you know something?
You
When
feel
you
me?
look at it, I will say this about them flight attendants that
Uh-huh.
most of the time when you go on a plane, you is gonna see a woman flight attendant. That's just something you see most of the time.
Yeah,
I
but you
mean,
don't see no pregnant flight attendants, do you? I mean, you might see some in this liberal day time, women trying it, but you ain't finna see no pregnant flight attendant, bro.
you know what?
Not
It's
not
crazy.
hardly.
I ain't never looked for one. But look,
Well, that's what I'm saying. One or two things, because the job is so demanding that they might not have time to have children. Then you know what I'm saying? Then because the
could you
position is so
imagine a
demanding, you
woman breaking
always,
her water on a plane, man? That'd be some crazy shit. That'd be some crazy
but they,
shit
they
breaking
don't
water on a
recommend
plane,
women
yo.
getting
That'd be
on the
wild.
planes when they're in a certain, they don't recommend women getting on planes flying, when they in, certain, trimester and
I
shit like
know.
that.
Yeah.
But they still do it. They do it.
Just hell
Hard headed as fuck.
yeah.
Still do it.
Hey man, it is what it is, man. You know the deal. Hey, look, here we go right here.
Just like a woman,
Fourth turnover
like I
of the
said,
last two
Cliffhanger.
games for
Oh, hold
Atlanta.
on.
Here's a nice carry by Ramondre Steve.
Being evicted, having surgery, having to go to court. That taught me to have no expectations of anyone other than myself.
Melody Rivers was evicted from her home in 2019, shortly after finding out she had precancerous polyps and had to have emergency surgery. She was laid off from her job. When she came home from surgery, she had received a 3-day notice to pay her rent, and after pleading her case in court, was evicted from her home.
Had I not gone to court to stand up for myself, I just think I would have been out on the streets. And I wrote a simple letter, very simple, plain letter. This is what happened. I have short-term disability. I'm waiting for their approval to issue it. I have this amount of money in cash on hand. The VA administration will pay you XYZ dollars. All you have to do is sign. And that's what I presented to the courts. And he didn't sign.
Even though Melody had received funding from Veterans Affairs to help pay her rent, her landlord decided not to accept her VA funding. By law in Washington state, landlords are not required to accept partial payments.
It is so easy to be evicted in Washington state by a blink of an eye, because if you owe a penny, you can be evicted for a penny. That's why you see so many homeless people out there.
Well, just wanted to break this down. You were talking about the women truck drivers. We were talking about that, but at the same time, like I said, this perceived independence you talk about, this shadow independence, also causes evictions.
Yeah, because if she was in a relationship, she wouldn't have to work. She wouldn't have to if she had to. If she went down or got, like I said, some temporary, like you
So
said,
it's out in the end.
that other that other half, can either hold the fort down until she can, get better, where she don't have to be homeless.
Exactly.
But see, people don't think about it. You're right. You don't think about that shit
It's
because
out in
we only
the
think
end.
about
Out the
the
end.
vanity, huh?
It's an out. It's an out, and it's an in. See, you can be out or you can be in. See, the independent keep you in for a while, but independent can also put you out. See,
Yeah, but yeah, especially if you living like you thinking like that for so long. Ain't no wrong with you trying to separate yourself and personally or singly get yourself together and trying to be more self sufficient out here. I think that's a beautiful thing, but bruh, we are living species. We are created to cohabitate with each other, bruh. I ain't saying you got to be with that same person for a billion years either. I'm saying we are the seasons for everything. I mean, you cohabitation, bro. Be a companion. We supposed to be companions with each other. You know what I mean? Now we feed into society, and then people go into them shells where they don't want to be with the people, and that's fine. We all, go into a situation where I'm cool by myself right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it works, huh?
But shit, we do need. I mean, because if not, the government is still that coherent, that
Make sure you get. Hey,
cohabitant
look.
parent.
Hey, look. This is what you need to do. I'm gonna tell you this. Before I tell you Shot's information. Well, the way that these women putting their boots on the ground, they ain't trying to hear what the hell man you trying to say about this. Keep your fucking mouth shut and let the shit go down.
But look, it's summertime, so let's burn them stinking ass boots now. Put your best foot forward. Let them toes breathe,
I
goddamn.
gotta give the laundromat credit, man. The laundromat is now washing Uggs. I just happened to see that shit. They say rewash Uggs too. And the cleaning. And the cleaning laundromat, they had a sign, rewash Uggs too. That is some funny shit. They advertise. I said, damn.
They wearing these goddamn Uggs all year round and shit. You know the motherfuckers just, boy, come on now. Humming. And getting dirty because they wearing them all outside and shit. And every, come on now.
Well, you are exactly what a voice of reason we need in this time, even though I guess, unfortunately, I just told you let this shit go down in some ways, because guess what? Just pretend what I just said, but guess what? Like I told you, they said they will include them. I said, look, man, they just saying they want it to be split 50-50, but when in reality,
what split 50-50?
They say we want to split the finance to half 50-50. That ain't true all the time. They just say
the finances, or they talking about well.
Hey, look, man.
It's nothing wrong with it if that's how you operate, and you can truly respect each other on that both ends. But 9 times out of 10, somebody's not gonna respect somebody. Let's be honest. And most likely it's gonna be a woman. Eventually she's gonna be saying that 50-50 shit ain't look her.
Hey, look, man. You need to step up to the fucking plate. God damn it. Hey, look.
Yeah.
You're not getting. Hey, man. Then one of them told me a couple weeks ago, VJ, it's all right to be married to a regular guy. Regular guy, right?
A regular guy.
That's what she say now. It's a married woman telling me this now. She like, but sometimes when you're married to a regular guy, you don't get all the things in life you deserve.
That could be true. Is she a regular woman? I'm gonna turn and say, "Are you a regular woman?" Shit, if you're a regular woman, then you go well with a regular guy. Goddamn.
Hey, yo. Look, it's funny. Because I told her, look, that thing with Smokey Robinson I playing earlier, talking about low wage and the high wage. And I said, look, when a man ain't fucking a woman, he don't care about low wage, high wage, whatever the fuck this dumb shit is. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a fuck. I just tell you, I damn sure don't. Right? So this regular woman, this woman, that woman, what the fuck? You got a pussy, I hope. And I got a dick.
So if you ain't regular, then what's above regular? Supreme? Super?
Hey, look. Cause I told her, so you saying you don't want a plain Jane man, as they call women plain Janes. She like, I just don't want to be in a boring relationship. My husband is whack. Well, I said, well, you married him. Shut the fuck. Shut the fuck up. Shit. It's funny to me. I just want to say this. It's funny to me these women is actually saying this, right? That their husband is whack, but they're saying that to another dude. I didn't say they should say that to women, but they tell this another dude. I mean, that I was, really wanting to do something. I could be like, well, look, let me get on there. Shit, fucking. Because I damn sure ain't trying to take the reins. And I know you talking about him like that. I know how you going to talk about me. So you might want to just let me go ahead and count my losses. If you want to do that. It might not want to fuck with you at all. But I'm just saying. But The shit be crazy. You just run the comments. They be like, damn, I know how y'all think about us. Okay. What
Yeah,
about
if she
you?
telling you that, you best believe she telling the motherfucker something different about you too. Shit, same. It's go both ways.
Hey, look, man. What about us? Hey, look. Let me play that. Let me play that for you. How they say? What's that song they say? What about us? What about you? What about us? What we gonna do? Well, that's about it. What we gonna do? But yeah, Shaq, what you got going on out there in Texas? Anything new? Anything exciting? Anything? You shot your information.
Texas, I wish you would have pulled this clip up a story. I don't know if it's true or false, but before you go, it was something about you talking about these Jesuits, these Israel and people
Yeah, I
tax
know
money
about it.
going somewhere. You
Yeah,
know
the
what I'm
tax.
talking about? Who?
I sent it to y'all the other day, matter of fact, about the tax money were going to Israel, and then the governor stepped in and he said that money
It's a
still
state,
leaking.
right? He says it's a state law. They put that
Yeah.
in the state law, bro, that you cannot boycott or not, boycott Israel or something. And it ain't just that. It's other
It's
states around the
all over.
United States.
It's
It's
all
all
over.
over.
That's why I
It's like
say that's
13 or some
why
shit other states that's participating in that, bro.
it's in
Like,
Virginia.
whoa.
It's in Virginia. This shit everywhere. Matter of fact, that's why the other day when they came up with this international thing they were supposed to pull, and they said, the Congress is gonna vote on you're gonna get fined millions of dollars if you boycott Israel. I said, wait a minute, hold on. Well, that's kind of psyop because they already got these laws on the state books. This shit ain't they ain't out there for us, really. A lot of these states already got this shit. That's how bullshit it was. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene then brought that up, the governor of Texas already told you a couple years ago, anybody who is against Israel is enemy of Texas. So I'm really trying to be, Glenn Youngkin kind of got the same mindset here in Virginia. This is a thing that's going on about boycotting them on state levels. They already got it on the state board. So there's no need for them to even talk about it being federally. That was fucking sad if I ever seen one.
But see, I don't understand how they implement that when
it was in Santa
like you
Monica,
said, bro.
Texas, as a matter of fact. I know
Huh?
exactly what you're talking about because I looked at it a week ago. It was in Santa Monica, Texas. They found
Yeah,
out about
it's like a
they
70,000
wanted to
people or
stop it.
some shit. $4
They
million
wanted to
go
stop
to $4 million with a year or some shit like that. Go to Israel or some shit. Tax
it.
money go to Israel.
Yeah,
They wanted to
that's right.
stop. They put the
They wanted to
paperwork in
stop
order
it.
to stop
The
it.
governor said
Right.
you ain't gonna stop it. That's what happened.
You ain't gonna stop it.
I know about it because and see, but this was the infringement we were talking about. As the day, I think the
I
Trump
wonder when they put
administration,
that in. They probably had to put that in at in 1950 something, 1940 something probably.
yeah, whenever it was created. But check this out.
Eisenhower and the motherfuckers, bro.
Now,
You know what I'm saying?
now watch this. I think the Trump administration, they announced, matter of fact, they did announce that they had a trade deal. I think they made a trade deal with the UK. Well, anybody know anything you do a trade deal with the UK, that's the British Commonwealth. So
Bro, come on, man.
I like this got to be some trick magic here because
no, it's not. I keep telling these people, bro. Who you think funded these motherfuckers to come over and create
that's
these what we
right.
consider U.S.? They were funded by them motherfuckers, bro. To create this U.S. state, which is an annex, pretty much is
That's
an
right.
annex for the England British motherfuckers. It's an annex. United States is an annex, bro. The commerce.
Hey,
The
look,
commerce.
so it's kind of like they announced a trade deal with them, but it's really a bullshit, like a magic fucking trick because they already been aligned with these motherfuckers. That's crazy.
Come on, man.
Oh my goodness. I was like, damn. I said, wait a minute there. Hold on. There won't no need to make that announcement because you already aligned with the Brits. This is a British Commonwealth. That's why I said we want to connect with Prince Charles, these things. Come on, man.
13 colonies, right. They expanded, right? So now you into 50 states. Come on, bro.
Come on, man. Let's think about it, man. Come on.
Come on, man.
But I'm like, yo, as I said, like, when you look at this stuff, you got to see, and that's why people say this about me. They like, damn, you try to cover every base. You got to, because you got to take this stuff issue by issue. If you don't, you're going to be running around the fucking tailspin. That's crazy. I like, wait a minute, hold on. The British, the UK, wait a minute. The U.S. always been connected with the UK. But I mean, you just gotta look into it, man. I mean, it's common sense. So it ain't no, they really, I mean, it was almost like you already announcing a deal with somebody that's already got the clutches in there. Man, come to think about it. When you meet let's say you went out today. Let's say you went to a local coffee shop there. You met a woman from London. Let's say you met a woman from London. I mean, ain't that in the UK? United Kingdom? Come on, people. Just saying, man. It's not
say cheerio, my bloody mates.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's not that hard to figure this shit out. I mean, you just got to look at who they are, who the British protectors are. As a matter of fact, if you go into the British protectors, you're gonna find out British protectors all across the fucking globe, really, because Jamaica is really
there you go. I was about to say, because it's funny, in Jamaicans, what they say in Latin Caribbean, a blood clot, and I just hit you with the blood they make. It's the same. It's the same. So they are brother nations.
Yeah. So when I look at it, I always realize that, hey, look, I ain't, colonization, and you talking about Israel, right? Thing. Colonization is always thing. That's how colonization is how you take over. Colonization is actually a product of war. That's war.
Now, man, you said that. I'll leave you with this. Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. He had this so-called Back to Africa movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the nigga never landed in Africa. Nigga went to London some damn where.
He was Jamaican too, right?
You see where I'm going with this?
Was he Jamaican?
Huh?
He Jamaican too, right?
Yeah, he was Jamaican. So he got more. He ain't got no damn African ties. Nigga probably is a black European. He probably was a Brit, old Brit nigga, English nigga, Negropean. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And they get to run up here and bring that boot up here and try to transport people from here and take them to goddamn Africa. That's what I'm saying, bro. It was totally reversed, bro.
The first.
They was taking people from here and building up those colonies over there in Africa.
It's funny. I used to talk to a woman from I know she was from Brenda. I know she lived in one of the damn places. Anyway, beautiful, right? But I'm just sitting there, but you can tell the language barrier. Now look, I'm gonna be dead on with you since we were talking about the independent woman, right? Guess what? These women from these countries, they can be dark, they can be light, they can be a white woman. They don't give a fuck. They not trying to talk about it. As a matter of fact, sometimes I just hate to say this. I sister like to tell you this. They look at these women over here. They look at these women over here kind of like hate it. They're like, why y'all be talking about men so bad? They just want to know. I mean, they ask the question. So I mean, they sometimes these people move here and they don't want to be. They might want the money but they don't want the quote unquote lifestyle of non-traditional things. Let's put it like that. They don't.
Well, that's true because even some of them that's leaving those areas and going to other areas, the UK, they're coming to America, they're coming, they're leaving their culture. Some of them take their culture with them, some of them leave it behind because it depends on what was going on. Because you got some of these women, they're coming here from African places, and they're not marrying either. They single and going to work in 6, 7 jobs and going to college, taking 2 or 3 degrees up too, and they They ain't married nobody. Caribbeans
Hey,
either. They ain't married niggas either. They ain't married their own people. They not married Africans. They not,
stay right
they're
there.
probably
Stay
married
right there.
white
I'm
men
gonna tell
before
you
they
something
married
funny.
somebody from their own homeland.
I'm gonna tell you something
Once they
funny.
get,
This happened years ago. There was an African girl that used to work with these girls I knew. And I said, dang, I told her that jump, I said, dang, it was a girl. He like, this African girl work with the girls. She like this. So, okay, cool. I said, daggone. I said, well, who trying to hang out with her? He was like, they don't really talk to her that much. I said, why? Because she said something about, she find it kind of crazy that women is hanging out in these nightclubs that much after 9 o'clock. She was like, she ain't had nothing wrong going a happy hour, but she ain't really want to hang out with a bunch of women at past 9 to 10 o'clock, because she was like, that should be bedtime when people getting their rest. Very interesting. So she said the other women looked at her as like a snob. But I said, no, she might be on to something. Really? She didn't say she wouldn't go out with them. She just said she don't want to be out past 9, 10 o'clock. She said people should be getting their rest. Well, in a context, she got a point, because I'm going to tell you why. Because if you look at it, they'll show you, and we're going to do this on another day. Matter of fact, we can put it on a health topic. I hate to say the African girl might be right, though, because you go find out, they'll tell you the majority of people in America is sleep deprived. So that could be true. But they looked at her as kind of like a snob, but I'm like, she probably got a point though. But you just said she couldn't understand why women want to be out at 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock at night. Well, they driving trucks all the time now. So sorry, African sister, but you probably just got lost in the box. But that's the way it is. The hustle and bustle. Shoot. You go to the gas station, woman up and down to shit, 2 o'clock at night at the damn gas register and shit.
yeah, man. Look, bro. Look, I'm telling you, look, and that's just, I'll be like, damn, because even this quick trip, man, it used to be chick, man. She working there by herself, the young chick too. I'm like, damn, overnight, working at these damn gas stations and shit overnight, bro. Like,
yeah, man.
Oh man.
Well, as a person who worked in correction other places and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think women should work in corrections unless they working in women's corrections. I don't think they should be in the man's jail, prison. I think that's stupid.
Well, guess what? Guess what, sir? I'm gonna be nice to you, because that used to be, they used to work quick only behind the board. Like, they used to work in this last thing. They could make calls or do things or be reported, but they used to didn't have them on the floor. But now they running these board. I mean, these young men prison, and actually the men's prison, the women prison, they didn't want men going on to the floor with women because they said it could be kind of like a sexual thing. But don't you think that if women go on the floor with men, it could be a sexual thing too? That's kind of crazy.
Oh, man, of course.
It's like crazy, right? Now me, I mean, I was like, yo, I mean, now here's the thing. Sometimes it could be, the women that were, they were cool, but sometimes it depends on how they go. Some guys trying to get a lick, as I call it, and some guys just gonna say the hell with you. Or some guys actually act straighter or better when the woman officers around, depending on how they is, But I'm gonna tell you something, man. Some of them girls, I was some kind of pretty, man. So I already knew what time it was. I know if I'm looking at them, I know damn well these men looking at them. I ain't that damn stupid. So, but it is what it is. And some women, they mess with the guys in there too. So it is what it is, man. But I had one guy telling a girl right next to me. I said, shit, what did he say? He said, man, Gary, you got some hips on you. She was like, oh, thank you. Like, I can already tell where this going. Dang, you pretty girl. I guess your husband take care of you or something like that, or some dumb shit like that. Dumb shit. But, flirting, as they call it, right? But that flirting work sometimes in it too. But whatever the case may be, Shaq, go ahead and shout out your information, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, y'all can catch me at Shaq Waller on Instagram or Shaq Edwards on Facebook.
Yeah, man. Don't spend too much. Hey, look, guys. Hey, man. Sorry about the women. Now, women, don't be nice before I leave. This is Mother's Day weekend coming up.
Who you taking out? You taking somebody out?
No.
Cooking something for them or something?
No.
Giving them a foot massage, back massage? What you doing?
Hey, yo, chill out, bro.
Come on, all the mothers you got, nigga, that take care of you all year round, and you can't.
Hey, look, man. Hey, yo, chill, bro. Cause look,
come on, man.
I had one mother named Bernadette Johnson. She died on April 4th, 2018. Had me on July
April 4th.
Yeah. Had me on July 16, 1987. Coincidentally, they said some of these women, I think, messed with Silver Rob in 1987. Right? But so it ain't no need for me. I mean, I had one mother, so I mean, if they want to celebrate,
it's not called Mother Day. It's called Mother's with an S Day.
Well, you only get one, but it is. What it is. But here's the deal. I say that they are celebrating it, because every day, Mother's Day, whether you live in the day because that's how you got here, unless you came out test tube.
You know what?
But
and I'm gonna tell you, that's another conversation too we can have. How these women say you boy or you this when you talking about bullying. You said something about earlier about somebody bullying somebody, right? I'm talking to somebody else. Bro, we get bullied nigga to participate in these damn holidays, bro. They try to peer pressure and bully you.
Bullying, huh?
Yeah, if you don't get your mother some on Mother's Day, then you don't. Come on, bro.
Well, could you get your father something on Father's Day then? Since you want to play that game, if you want to do that. But it is what it is. Like the woman told me.
Every day is day shit. I mean,
that's right.
I'm about to, here and there, shit.
Oh, man. It is what it is, man. Like I said, but that's the way it goes. People want to have the days, and hey, look, if you can afford the days, have days. Hey, man, Christmas is only 6 months away or 8 months away. No, about 7 months away. So I guess that'll be coming around too. Yay! Easter just passed. Your bunny is right. So that just passed. And now we got Memorial Day coming up. Next month will be Pride Month. This is Happy Nurses Week, so I guess people are getting their nurses something, right? Then we got what is it? 4th of July. Independence Day. Whose independence is the question? Let's see. Labor Day. Halloween. Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's it. So I mean, it's coming around, brother. So it is what it is. But that's it. So you take your time, brother. Relax. I'm gonna say this. Don't. Hey, look. If it come down to it, brother, don't believe the hype. Because guess what? When it comes to Mother's Day, don't forget. I would actually appreciate it more if they did Mother's Day and Father's Day in the same day. Because remember this always, Shaq. It takes two to tango. You didn't get hit.
Well, I'm glad you said something about that because the late great Miss Laddie used to say Father's Day should come before Mother's Day. Why they put Mother's Day before Father's Day? Father's Day. Wow.
Yes, sir. Well, take your time. It always takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.